What if everything you see is only an appearance? Not completely false, but incomplete. What if the world you experience, the objects, the voices, the events, is only a surface? And beneath that surface lies something more real, more stable, more true. This was the radical idea of Plato. Not that reality is fake, but that most of us mistake shadows for substance. For more than 2,000 years, Plato's ideas have shaped how we think about truth, knowledge, and reality itself. And his central question still challenges us today. Are we seeing the world as it is, or only its shadows? Plato was born in Athens around 427 BCE. He grew up in a city famous for its democracy and intellectual life. But he also witnessed a moment that would change his thinking forever. His teacher, Socrates, was put on trial. Socrates spent his life asking difficult questions. What is justice? What is wisdom? What does it mean to live a good life? For this, he was condemned by a democratic vote and executed. To Plato, this revealed something unsettling. Even intelligent societies can confuse opinion with truth. And so Plato began to ask a deeper question. How do human beings come to know what they believe they know? To explore this problem, Plato described one of the most famous images in the history of philosophy, the allegory of the cave. Imagine human beings confined in a cave. They face a wall. Behind them burns a fire. Between the fire and the prisoners, objects are carried back and forth. The prisoners see only shadows projected on the wall. They hear echoes. Over time, they begin to interpret these shadows. They construct explanations. Eventually, they become confident that the shadows are reality. But one prisoner escapes. For the first time, they leave the cave. At first, the sunlight is painful. The new world is overwhelming. Everything they once believed now feels uncertain. But gradually, their eyes adjust, and they realize something astonishing. The shadows were not reality. They were only reflections of something deeper. Plato believed human beings often live like those prisoners. We rely on appearances. We trust what feels familiar. We repeat explanations we inherit from others. But philosophy, he believed, is the process of turning the mind toward truth. This insight led Plato to one of his most important ideas, the theory of forms. Plato argued that the world we perceive through our senses is not the deepest level of reality. Physical things change. They decay. A beautiful object fades. A political system collapses. Even mountains slowly erode. But behind these changing things, Plato believed, lie deeper and unchanging patterns. He called them forms. The form of beauty, the form of justice, the form of truth. In our world, we encounter imperfect examples, many beautiful things, many attempts at justice. But these are only reflections of something more perfect. In Plato's view, the physical world is a world of copies. The forms are the deeper reality those copies reflect. This idea would influence philosophy, theology, mathematics, and science for centuries. Plato did more than propose ideas. He helped shape how philosophy itself would be practiced. He wrote his works as dialogues, conversations in which Socrates questions assumptions and explores ideas. Among the most famous of these works is the Republic, a text that explores justice, knowledge, and the structure of society. But Plato also created something new. Around 387 BCE, he founded a school in Athens called Plato's Academy. It became one of the first long-lasting institutions devoted to philosophy, mathematics, and scientific inquiry. Students gathered there to explore ideas and challenge assumptions. Among those students was a young thinker named Aristotle. The academy lasted nearly 900 years. In many ways, it became the ancestor of the modern university. Plato also asked a difficult political question. If human beings often mistake appearances for truth, how should society be governed? In the Republic, he proposed the idea of philosopher kings, leaders who pursue wisdom rather than power. Plato imagined a society divided into three groups: rulers guided by wisdom, guardians who defend the city, and producers who sustain the economy. The goal was not wealth, not dominance, but justice and harmony. Even today, debates about democracy, expertise, and leadership echo Plato's questions. Should leaders be chosen by popularity or by knowledge? The tension between opinion and expertise remains one of the central challenges of modern politics. At the heart of Plato's philosophy lies a simple but powerful distinction: the difference between opinion and knowledge. Opinion is based on appearances. It changes easily. It is shaped by culture and consensus. Knowledge, Plato believed, is something deeper. It is stable. It is grounded in reason, and it aims at truth. This distinction became the foundation of an entire branch of philosophy called epistemology, the study of knowledge. For Plato, philosophy was not merely intellectual, it was transformative. He believed philosophy could help human beings seek truth, cultivate virtue, and understand justice. In other words, philosophy was a practice of the soul. From a small school in Athens grew a tradition of inquiry that would shape universities, political thought, and the pursuit of knowledge across the world. Even today, Plato's ideas continue to influence debates about truth, justice, education, and reality itself. More than 2,000 years later, his question still challenges us. Are we seeing reality, or only its shadows?